series on end time prophetic events that have already been fulfilled. And in the previous session, we had a look at Daniel's first vision, in which he was first exposed to the kingdom of the Antichrist. We saw in that particular vision that the Lord showed Daniel 4 separate beasts that will arise in the earth as we draw to the close of the age. And we identified the fourth beast as being the kingdom of the Antichrist. The first three beasts we identified as being the three superpowers in the earth today of Russia, China, and the United States. And so in today's discussion, we want to have a look at the second vision given to Daniel pertaining to the kingdom of the Antichrist, because we're saying in this section that the kingdom of the Antichrist is already in the earth, because we're looking at prophetic events that have already been fulfilled as we draw closer to the end of the age. And so what we'll see and what we'll discuss in today's session is the angel Gabriel's revelation to Daniel, giving us a trail that we can follow through time, leading us to the kingdom of the Antichrist. That's really what this particular vision is all about that we're going to discuss today. And so we're going to read the passage of scripture that relates this particular vision to us. It's quite a lengthy passage, but we do need to go through it in order to be able to discuss it. And so we'll begin with the passage is in Daniel chapter 8, verse 1 through to 26. This is Daniel recounting what took place in that vision. He says, "In the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared to me, Daniel, after the one that appeared to me the first time," referring to that vision that we've already discussed. Verse 2, "I saw in the vision, and it so happened while I was looking, that I was in Shushan, the citadel, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in the vision that I was by the river Ulai." Now, just to pause here for a moment, the Holy Spirit emphasizes through Daniel's exact location at the time that he receives this vision. It's very important for us to recognize this fact, because everything is, as we'll go through today's discussion, everything centers around this particular geographic location that Daniel was placed at. Now, Daniel wasn't there when he received the vision. He was transported there in the spirit when he received the vision, and he had to then communicate by the Holy Spirit the exact location of where he was standing. It's very important. Moving on, verse 3. "Then I lifted my eyes and saw, and there standing beside the river was a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher one came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no animal could withstand him, nor was there any that could deliver from his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. And as I was considering, suddenly a male goat came from the west across the surface of the whole earth without touching the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Then he came to the ram that had the 2 horns, which I had seen standing beside the river, and ran at him with furious power. And I saw him confronting the ram. He was moved with rage against him, attacked the ram, and broke his 2 horns. There was no power in the ram to withstand him, but he cast him down to the ground and trampled him, and there was no one that could deliver the ram from his hand. Therefore the male goat grew very great, but when he became strong, the large horn was broken, and in place of it 4 notable ones came up toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them, one of the four, there came a little horn, which grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, toward the glorious land. And it grew up to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and some of the stars to the ground and trampled them. He even exalted himself as high as the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifices were taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Because of transgression, an army was given over to the horn to oppose the daily sacrifices, and he cast truth down to the ground. He did all this and prospered. Just pausing here. This little horn that Daniel is shown is referring to the person of the Antichrist and indeed the kingdom of the Antichrist. And look at the comment that he makes here. This horn grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the glorious land. Talking about from that geographic location where Daniel was standing. Moving on in this passage, verse 13. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to the certain one who was speaking, how long will the vision be concerning the daily sacrifices and the transgression of desolation, the giving of both the sanctuary and the host to be trampled underfoot? And he said to me, for 2,300 days, then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. Just pausing on that particular passage, that is referring to the end of the age when just prior to the Lord's millennial reign, when the temple will be cleansed. We're not going to discuss that in any detail in this session because we're looking specifically at the kingdom of the Antichrist. Getting back to verse 15. Then it happened when I, Daniel, had seen the vision and was seeking the meaning, that suddenly there stood before me one having the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So now Gabriel is coming to explain the vision to Daniel. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell on my face. But he said to me, Understand, Son of Man, that the vision refers to the time of the end. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep with my face to the ground, but he touched me and stood me upright. And he said, Look, I am making known to you what shall happen in the latter time of the indignation, for the appointed time the end shall be. Now he goes on to explain the vision that Daniel had seen. The ram which you saw having two horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia, and the male goat is the kingdom of Greece. The large horn that is between its eyes is the first king, and as for the broken horn and the four notable horns stood up in its place, 4 kingdoms shall arise out of that nation, but not with its power. And in the latter time of their kingdoms, plural, when the transgressors have reached their fullness, a king shall arise, having fierce features, who understands sinister schemes. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy fearfully, and shall prosper and thrive. He shall destroy the mighty and also the holy people. Through his cunning he shall cause deceit to prosper under his rule, and he shall exalt himself in his heart. He shall destroy many in their prosperity. He shall even rise against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without human means. And the visions and the evenings of the morning which was told is true. Therefore seal up the vision, for it refers to many days in the future. And so this particular vision, the passage of scripture is quite long, and it entails a lot of detail, specifically speaking about the person of the Antichrist, when his kingdom will appear into the earth, and certain aspects about his reign. But that's not what we want to focus on in this vision today. We're wanting to look at the trail that Gabriel gives us to follow in order to identify the kingdom of the Antichrist. Because as we'll see as we go through the vision, Gabriel gives us a very specific trail to follow in order for us to identify the kingdom of the Antichrist. And so this particular vision, as we've already mentioned, it relates to the first vision in which Daniel is shown the fourth kingdom. And so now Daniel is now given a vision which gives us more detail about the fourth kingdom, which will eventually emerge into the earth. We see that this vision culminates with the entry of the Antichrist into the earth. For Gabriel tells us that when the transgressors have reached their fullness, a king shall arise having fierce features, who understands sinister schemes, referring to the person of the Antichrist. And so this passage gives us a number of insights into the reign of the Antichrist, but as I said, we're not really wanting to discuss that in today's section. In this section, we want to concentrate more on the kingdom of the Antichrist, and more specifically, its location. And in light of that, it's important for us to note that the Lord placed Daniel at a very specific location when he gave him the vision, and Daniel had to describe to us exactly where he was standing. He was next to the river Ulai in the citadel of Shushan in the province of Elam. So why is that so important for us to understand? Well, because from that particular point in location-wise, geographically, the vision tells us, Gabriel tells us that the kingdom of the Antichrist from that point grows exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the glorious land. Now, the glorious land in this passage is referring to the nation of Israel, obviously. And there are 6 specific kingdoms that are shown to Daniel in this vision, beginning with the Babylonian kingdom, which is in fact the ram, and ending then with the kingdom of the Antichrist. Nevertheless, when the angel does mention the Antichrist kingdom emerging in the latter time of their kingdoms, plural, he alludes to additional kingdoms beyond the first 5 before culminating in the kingdom of the Antichrist. And so clearly, Gabriel is mentioning these kingdoms to us in this vision to provide us with a trail that would lead us to the identity of the kingdom of the Antichrist. And so in following each one of those kingdoms in turn, in today's session, we're going to go through the trail to see where it leads us. And so the first kingdom that is shown to us, and we see the map on the screen now, the first kingdom that is shown to us is in fact the kingdom of the Babylonian Empire, which is represented by the ram. And so both biblical and historical records attribute the rise of the Babylonian Empire to King Nebuchadnezzar, known as Nebuchadnezzar the Great, because he is typically regarded as that empire's greatest king. That's recorded for us in Daniel chapter 2, verse 36 to 38. The Babylonian Empire at the time that Daniel received his vision was being ruled by King Belshazzar, who was the son of King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel mentions him. For Daniel tells us in this passage that he received the vision in the 3rd year of King Belshazzar's reign. As an aside, King Belshazzar was assassinated in that same year, thus bringing an end to the Babylonian Empire. Historical records reveal that the Babylonian Empire began in the year 605 BC and ended in the year 561 BC. It is important to note that the map of the Babylonian Empire shown incorporates the geographic location where Daniel was standing, i.e. Shushan, or as the map in this case, it's spelled Susa, which would eventually become the originating point of the Antichrist kingdom. So that's where the whole trail that's given to us by Gabriel is centered on this geographic location as we follow each kingdom in succession. The next kingdom which Gabriel then shows us, the angel Gabriel informs us in this passage that the second kingdom shown in the vision is the Median Empire, which is represented by the first horn on the ram. Biblical and historical records reveal to us that Darius the Mede became king after King Belshazzar was assassinated in 561 BC. And so we see that the Median Empire under Darius the Mede succeeded the Babylonian Empire in the year 561 BC. Historical records reveal that the Median Empire began in the year 561 BC and ended in the year 550 BC. Again, it's important to note on the map that the Median Empire shown incorporates the geographic location of the Antichrist kingdom shown to Daniel. So we're following this trail given to us by Gabriel. The next kingdom, the angel Gabriel informs us in this passage that the third kingdom shown in this vision is indeed the Persian Empire, which is represented by the second horn on the ram. This passage declares that the second horn was higher than the first, thus implying that the Persian Empire was greater than the Median Empire. Historical records confirm the fact that the Persian Empire was indeed greater than the Median Empire, which preceded it. Historical records reveal that the Persian Empire began in the year 550 BC and ended in the year 330 BC. Again, it's important to note that the Persian Empire on the map shown below incorporates the geographic location of the Antichrist kingdom shown to Daniel. The angel Gabriel then informs us in this passage that the fourth kingdom shown in this vision is the Grecian Empire, which is represented by the goat. The angel informs us that there is no power in the ram to withstand the goat, but he cast him to the ground and trampled him. Historical records confirm the fact that the Persian Empire was succeeded by the Grecian Empire under Alexander the Great. In this vision, Alexander the Great is referred to as the first king of the Grecian Empire and is represented by the notable horn on the goat. Historical records reveal that the Grecian Empire began in the year 330 BC and ended in the year 312 BC. Again, it's important to note that the map shows that the Grecian Empire incorporates the geographic location of the Antichrist kingdom shown to Daniel. You can see the pattern that we're following as we go through this trail of all of these kingdoms succeeding one another, bringing us up to the kingdom of the Antichrist. The angel then, Gabriel then informs us that after the death of Alexander the Great, which is represented by the broken horn in the vision, that the Grecian Empire was divided into 4 separate kingdoms. Historical records confirm the fact that after the death of Alexander the Great, his empire was indeed split into 4 separate kingdoms. The angel Gabriel tells us that out of one of those 4 kingdoms, the little horn will ultimately emerge. Don't forget the little horn in this passage represents the Antichrist. And so the question is asked, which one of the 4 kingdoms was the angel referring to? Historical records reveal that of the 4 kingdoms, it was the Seleucid Empire, which was located in the same geographic area as the preceding empire shown in the vision. And so we see that the 5th kingdom referred to in this vision is indeed the Seleucid Empire. Historical records reveal that the Seleucid Empire began in the year 312 BC and ended in the year 141 BC. Again, it's important to note that on the map, the Seleucid Empire incorporates the geographic location of the Antichrist kingdom shown to Daniel. Very important that we pick up on all of these points. The angel Gabriel then informed us in this passage that in the latter time of their kingdoms, when the transgressors have reached their fullness, a king shall arise having fierce features and having understanding of sinister schemes. The king that the angel is referring to in this passage is the person of the Antichrist. Clearly, 2 things foretold by the angel in this passage have not yet transpired. The transgressors have not yet reached their fullness, and the Antichrist has not yet arisen in the earth. And so we see that the latter time of their kingdoms has not yet arrived. And so the question is asked, which additional kingdoms is the angel referring to in this passage, bearing in mind that these kingdoms must all be centered on the same geographic area shown to Daniel? History teaches us that there are 3 kingdoms that succeeded the Seleucid Empire in that geographic region, bringing us to the present time today. i.e. the latter time of their kingdoms, as mentioned in the vision. And so in order for us to continue following the trail given by Gabriel, we will discuss these three kingdoms in turn. Historical records reveal that the Parthian Empire succeeded the Seleucid Empire in the year 141 BC. In that year, the Parthian Empire expelled the Seleucid Empire from the geographic areas of Babylonia and Mesopotamia, thus expanding their borders to incorporate those areas. These two geographic areas are important, being central to the geographic location shown to Daniel. It is interesting to note that the Roman Empire at this time was one of the main rivals of the Parthian Empire. And they invaded the region of Mesopotamia on numerous occasions in their attempt to incorporate that region into the Roman Empire. Each attempt proved to be unsuccessful, however, and the region remained under Parthian rule. The Parthian Empire had a relatively long lifespan of 365 years. Historical records reveal that the Parthian Empire began in the year 141 BC and ended in the year 224 AD. Again, it's important to note that on the map the Parthian Empire shown incorporates the geographic location of the Antichrist kingdom shown to Daniel. That brings us to the next empire. The next empire that controlled the geographic areas of Babylonia and Mesopotamia was the Sasanian Empire, which succeeded the Parthian Empire in the year 224 AD. Of all the kingdoms mentioned in this section, the Sasanian Empire had the longest lifespan, spanning 427 years. Historical records reveal that the Sasanian Empire began in the year 224 AD and ended in the year 650 AD. You can see how we're slowly getting closer and closer to the current time. Again, it's important to note that on the map, the Sasanian Empire incorporates the geographic location of the Antichrist kingdom that was shown to Daniel. This brings us to the final kingdom on the trail to identify in the kingdom of the Antichrist, i.e. the kingdom to succeed the Sasanian Empire. So which kingdom was that? In the year 610 AD, the Prophet Muhammad introduced Islam into the earth. Just 40 years later, the Sasanian Empire ceased to exist when it fell to Muslim conquest in the year 650 AD. From that year, the Kingdom of Islam has continued to dominate that geographic region even until today. And so we see that the Kingdom of Islam is the final kingdom on the trail that the angel Gabriel has given us to follow. As an aside, it is interesting to note that Muhammad's testimony is that the angel Gabriel appeared to him to give him his first revelation from God. Don't forget, Gabriel's the one that's giving us this whole trail leading up to Muhammad's kingdom. Anyway, going on, obviously, Islam does not only control the geographic region in question, but continues to expand. At the current growth rate, it's estimated that by the year 2030, Muslims will make up more than 1/4 of the world's population. Nevertheless, again, it's important to note that on a map that the Islamic kingdom shown incorporates the geographic location of the Antichrist kingdom shown to Daniel. And so we've seen in this section thus far that the angel Gabriel revealed to Daniel that the kingdom of the Antichrist would arise from the geographic location where he was standing at the time he received the vision, i.e. next to the river Ulai in the citadel of Shushan in the province of Elam. When we look at a modern map, we see that the geographic point where Daniel was standing is located in modern-day Iran. And so we see an extremely important truth revealed to us in this passage, i.e. the Antichrist will emerge from Iran. The Lord showed Daniel that the kingdom of the Antichrist would from that geographic point grow exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the glorious land. The glorious land in the vision refers to the land of Israel. The nations toward the south of that position today are Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Oman, and Yemen. The nations toward the east of that position today are Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. The nations toward the west of that position today are Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, and Israel. And so obviously, with the exception of Israel, all of those countries today are almost 100% Muslim nations. Clearly, the fourth kingdom, don't forget that fourth kingdom showed to Daniel in the first vision, is the kingdom of the Antichrist, is the kingdom of Islam, which is already in place and waiting for the manifestation of the Antichrist. The map that we're looking at now highlights Daniel's location where he received his vision. Today, that location is the town of Shushtar in the Khuzestan province in Iran. And so we saw earlier in Daniel's vision that the angel described the fourth kingdom as being different from all others. The reason that the fourth kingdom is different from all others is because it is firstly a religious kingdom, i.e. the Islamic faith. And secondly, it is a kingdom of secular power, i.e. nation states. When the Antichrist is finally revealed into the earth, all Muslim countries will align themselves with him and submit to his rule. The reason they will do that is because the Antichrist will emerge from within the Muslim faith. And so we see from this section that the first key event that must be fulfilled before the Lord returns has already been completed, i.e. the kingdom of the Antichrist is already in place. I'm going to end the teaching on that point today. In the next session, we want to discuss the vision shown to the Apostle John of the Antichrist kingdom. We will see how John's vision ties in almost exactly with Daniel's vision. But we're going to end the teaching on that point today.